Good morning and welcome to Cincy
Good
Lifestyle.
morning.
Yes, that's right, Mona. I guess it bears saying by both
Go
of
right
us.
ahead, Clyde.
Yeah, I think I read the note wrong. I think it was supposed to be you starting. But anyway, it's a beautiful day out there today.
No, it's you. Go ahead.
We are going to have an interview with a gentleman standing outside, so you get to see how beautiful it is. But it is a great day out there today. We hope you get out and enjoy it. Mona, how about you?
Yeah, I plan to get out there and maybe take my walk today with a jacket, of course, because it's a little cool outside. But you know what, Clyde? I tell you something I won't be doing, baking. I will not be baking today
Surprise,
or ever.
surprise. Surprise, surprise. You know, we were having a conversation internally about what you can still not find on the shelves of the grocery store, and one of the big ones is flour. I mean, yeah, you can't find TP and you can't find hand sanitizer, and now, Moni, you can't find flour.
Oh my goodness. So, what are some of the alternatives? Because you know what, that's not a problem for me, but it's a problem for a lot of people who love baking.
Well, exactly. In fact, we've run into this issue in our household a time or two as we've tried to bake various things. An online publication, HuffPost.com, recently took a look at that whole issue of not being able to find flour and that sort of stuff, and they came up with a rather interesting approach. Order it online, because the people who make flour say there's not a shortage of flour, it's just a supply chain issue in terms of getting it to the stores in the bulk necessary. So HuffPost then went and looked at some of the places where you can order online, and I found one that was perfect. Old Mill of Guilford in North Carolina. The first thing that pops up when you get to the web page, grits. Mona, grits. No shrimp, no cheese, just grits. I love it.
Yes.
So they had grits, they had cornmeal, they
Yes,
had,
that is a hometown Southern favorite.
oh, let me tell you. Look, they also had, you'll love this, they had cornmeal with onions in it for making hush puppies. You can't beat that.
Ooh,
But
that's
right,
right. I
but right
love
quick,
that.
but right quick
You
while
know,
we're,
the one thing that, oh, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say right quick while we're on this subject, one other person posted that they went to, on a social media site, that they actually called up a restaurant and said, hey, if you've got flour just sitting there that you're not using it, I'd love to buy it. So they got 25 pounds of flour for 18 bucks, while at the same time supporting a local food outlet. So ways to work around it.
That is great, Clyde. That's absolutely wonderful. Yeah, you get two for one that way. Two
Yep.
for one.
Yep, absolutely. You know, we're looking for stuff to do now that we're quarantining and social distancing and all that. Well, it turns out the movies can offer a great escape from all of the heightened stress and uncertainty right now. But with all of the indoor theaters closed, there is a great alternative that has been entertaining people since the early 1900s. It's the drive-in movies, and boy, are we lucky to have one in our area. And here now to talk with us about it is the co-owner and operator of that drive-in theater, Todd Cincy. It's the Holiday Auto Theater. Todd, thank you for being with us.
Hi, Clyde. I love grits. Oh, I was raised in Orlando. I love grits.
All right, man, we're on the same team. We are on the same team. So it's a beautiful day out there, and we thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about your reopening this weekend, what that was like.
Well, we took extra time to ensure that we had all of our social distancing measures in place. We put together a big list of our COVID-19 procedures and put them on our website. And boy, folks were super excited to get out of their homes. We had a great mix of our loyal followers that came out. We had a great mix of new folks that I think were just ready to get out of the house and come see a couple of great movies. And the weather was chilly, but it was clear, and we were just super happy with the folks that came out. They loved it.
And right quick, what was showing?
We had Onward, the Disney Pixar movie with Jumanji Next Level.
Okay, all right. So, you know, at the best of times, the drive-in theater is a great experience, but now it is particularly, do you find rather that it is a particularly good way for family and friends to hang out now?
It is. It has been for, you mentioned decades. It's a great place for families to come and hang out. We've had folks that come up and talk to us and said they've come since they were teenagers in the 50s, and now they bring their kids and grandkids. It's a great place to just hang out and catch up on and have some quality family time before the movie and in the middle of the two movies during our intermission.
So what was the energy like this weekend?
People were very excited. They were mindful of our COVID-19 procedures. We have our social distancing cues. We have our PPE and our plexiglass to protect our team members. And that was our big thing that we were that was most important to us, was making sure that our team was safe and that they felt comfortable while the guests were here, and that the guests felt comfortable. And that all kind of came into place. And we made sure we were ready for that, and we just had a great weekend. Everybody was very excited.
So Todd, talk a little bit about the whole aspect of snacks. How are you handling that, and what would you advise people who are coming to see the movies this weekend?
We've always allowed folks to bring in outside food for a small fee, and we continue to do that in case they would like to stay completely in their car. However, we do have a great refreshment center with all of our favorites still, Nathan's Hot Dogs, Steak Burgers with Cheese. It is now a one-way operation inside, so the folks come in socially distanced behind plexiglass, place their order, move to the next social distance marker, pick up their food, and then exit out the door, all one way.
Okay, all right.
And it worked great.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. We're just about out of time, so I have two questions. First of all, what's showing this weekend, and how can people get in touch with the theater?
Well, we're not, there, as you know, right now, the major chains aren't open, so there really aren't any brand new movies. So we're going to alternate between adult lineups and family lineups. So this weekend, we're going to do The Invisible Man with The Hunt. And then next weekend, we're going to go kick it off with Trolls Live. So holidayautotheater.com is our website, Facebook, Holiday Auto Theater, Instagram, Holiday Auto Theater, all one word. And it is beautiful out there. Ready for drive-in movie, Clyde?
It looks like it is, Todd. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Yes, sir. Mona?
Well, Clyde, we're going to continue with the theme of entertainment by introducing you to a stand-up comedian who got his start right here in Cincinnati. He's been in the business for about 8 years, and Allie Martin had a chance to chat with him about the industry and what it takes to get laughs on stage.
So we've talked about a lot of different hobbies here on Cincy Lifestyle, but one of them that we haven't talked about is stand-up comedy. And right now, Josh O'Neill is a Cincinnati native who recently moved to Chicago, and he does stand-up comedy. He's been doing it for 8 years, so we're gonna get some tips from him.
Tell you guys a bit about me. I used to work at a nursing home. I got fired after about a year. Turns out they don't really like it when you call every shift the graveyard
So
shift.
talk a little bit about the comedy scene.
Cincinnati is one of the most underrated comedy scenes in the country, I think, just because of its, hospitable, tight-knit, pretty intimate nature. So everybody knows each other. Everyone's extremely supportive, and everyone's extremely funny. We all have each other's backs, and it's just one of those things where it helps that Cincinnati is big enough to feel like you're doing something cool and important, but it's small enough that you feel like you're at home and, everything's going to be fine no matter what. When you move to a different city, you start over. No one cares if you were funny in a different city for a long time. That's everybody's story. So it's been exciting to, kind of start from the bottom and work your way up. And it's one of those things where Cincinnati was a really good breeding ground. And it is for anybody who's trying to get into it in the area, for sure.
Yeah, so if anyone is, kind of talk about that process. It's scary, right? Talk about getting on stage and being vulnerable and trying to be funny. Mm-hmm. What tips do you have for people in terms of content and fear of rejection?
Yeah.
Sounds like a bad relationship.
Fear of rejection, you just got to get over immediately, like almost immediately. I remember the first time I ever did stand up, I thought I was going to be great. I was 18, and I I just bombed. I was terrible. I look back on it, I'm just like, this is the worst. I was really bad. But even then, I'm thankful that I was cognizant enough to know that I was bad, but I wanted to get better. To quote one of my good friends, Alex Stone, he's a former Cincinnati comedian, very funny. His poster is right up there. Writing is thinking and thinking is writing. It's a lot of just being able to capture your thoughts and being able to, at a minute's notice, write them down or type them into your phone or put them on a voice memo. And in terms of content, it really just depends on the comedian and what they want to talk about. Audiences love a comedian who is talking what they want to talk, like what suits them, It's about doing what excites
Standards
you.
are messing me up. I'm too picky, I'm too specific. I got real tight. This is my kind of lady. I like a lady whose last name is a first name. You know what I mean? People like Meg Ryan and like Judge Judy. Like, it's not a
Check out Bombs Away Comedy. Check out Go Bananas Comedy Club. Check out the Liberty Township Funny Bone. There's a million unknown venues in the city where stuff is happening, and most of it's free. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't check it out. And if you want to try, our scene's there for you. Go ahead and give it a whirl.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Josh, we appreciate you taking the time, and you can get out of that 70s basement.
Never.
Till next time.
All right.
She had to take a shot. Hey, we often think about preparing physically for the unexpected, but what about being mentally prepared? Well, here's some advice to help focus on your mental health and wellness, especially now.
A study by Total Brain finds that many Americans admit to suffering from anxiety related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
In this time where we all have the sense of being hijacked a little bit by this fear, that it's affecting the fundamental way that we think. Total Brain is a neuroscience-based mental health platform that empowers users to assess and monitor and train their optimal emotional and thinking health.
Visit totalbrain.com/try to access the platform.
Well, coming up here on Cincy Lifestyle, to journey to the intersection of nature and art. Join us as we venture out to Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park. It's 300 acres of full imaginative works of art, and it's accessible for all. Then we find out more about the Queen City's most infamous bootlegger. Yes, the author behind the book Ghosts of Eden Park talks about how she researched George Remus and some interesting tidbits she found. All that, so much more in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Well, if you're looking for a change of scenery, Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park is the perfect combination of nature and art. The fully accessible grounds stretch for more than 300 acres, offering fun new sights at every turn. Allie Martin took a tour.
I am standing outside of the entrance of the Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and Museum, and if this entrance has any indication of what we're about to see inside, we're about to get blown away. I have a feeling. Let's go check it out. Pyramid Hill is an outdoor sculpture park and museum that's over 300 acres of monumental sculptures, ponds, and rolling hills. It's a beautiful outdoor space with the mission of bringing people to art in nature. And it all started by one visionary man in the 80s.
Harry T. Wilkes founded Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park with the original 40 acres that he purchased. And he was a big fan of outdoor sculpture, contemporary sculpture, modern sculpture. And he started buying up property all around until we have the 300 acres, over 300 acres that we have now. But at 1997, they got the nonprofit status, and it's been open to the public ever since then.
The art within the park is constantly changing, so there's always something new to see. But with over 300 acres and 70 plus sculptures, one may wonder the best way to get around.
So there's 3 different ways that we like to tell people that they can experience the sculptures here. You can, of course, walk. There's hiking trails. There's, behind me there's an amazing, we call it the gallery loop, an amazing space to walk. You can drive, but the best way to do it is the art cart. We have art carts available for rent, and then you can get in the small little pathways throughout and experience some of the more hidden sculptures.
Once you're immersed in the park, people like Sean hope your first reaction is amazement by the natural beauty, then appreciation for the art by means of nature. Every aspect of the park is important to Pyramid Hill, and the park is implementing new sustainable elements to preserve that beauty.
Nature comes first or second to your experience here. We're doing things like we have the native plant garden. We're creating a little bit more no-mow zones, as we're calling them. We're doing things like bringing 16 beehives to the park to promote the wildflowers and really help the natural aspect of the park.
The family-friendly Pyramid Hill welcomes any and all. And even though it may feel like a world apart, they're just a half-hour drive from Cincinnati.
Now, while the indoor museum is still closed, the Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park and trails have reopened to members as of May 4th. The park is asking guests to continue social distancing and not to touch any of the sculptures. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit Pyramid Hill Park online at pyramidhill.org. Clyde.
He was the real-life inspiration behind F. Scott Fitzgerald's Jay Gatsby, and he lived here in Cincinnati. We're talking about George Remus, and there's a new book about his life, legacy, and the murder that shocked Jazz Age America. I'm joined now by Karen Abbott, the author behind the book, The Ghosts of Eden Park. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Clyde.
So tell us a little bit about the book and what interested you in George Remus in the first place.
Well, if any of your fans are fans of the TV show Boardwalk Empire, which aired on HBO for 5 seasons, George Remus was a minor character. He would pop in here and there. He was clearly a brilliant, scheming kind of guy. He spoke of himself in the third person, and he stole every scene he was in. And I wondered if he was a real person. And I did some digging, and indeed, George Remus was a real person who did speak of himself in the third person, and he made a fortune here in Cincinnati.
And so tell me about the research you did into that, because it must have been pretty deep research.
It was fascinating. Unfortunately, his mansion in Price Hill that he bought in 1920 with his wife is no longer there. But I did a lot of research at local institutions and historical societies about the fantastic Gatsby-esque parties he had there. He gave away brand new 1922 cars for the women and diamond stick pins for the men, a $1,000 bill tucked under everyone's plate. And
Wow.
He lit guest cigars with a $100 bill. And, you know, this is in an era when the average annual salary was about $1,300.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the most interesting aspect of the Remus story for you?
Well, I think the fact that there's this sordid love triangle that develops. Remus was pursued legally by Mabel Walker Willenbrandt, who was the Assistant District Attorney of the United States, and she sends one of her ace prohibition detectives, a guy named Franklin Dodge, to investigate Remus's empire. While Dodge not only investigated his empire, Dodge ended up falling in love with Remus's wife. So there was a love triangle. Dodge and Remus's wife sort of set out to ruin Remus, and it sparked this bitter feud that reached all the highest levels of government.
And there was kind of a little murder mystery around Remus as well, right?
Yeah, there is. I wrote the book as sort of a true crime thriller, and both Remus and his wife were capable of murder. These were people who had tempers and who really had it in for each other as the time went on and their relationship soured. And their sort of back and forth between them was really fascinating to me.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for whetting our appetites for this. How can people learn more about this book?
My website is karenabbott.net. And it's available in bookstores, independent bookstores, online retailers, anywhere where books are sold.
All right, Karen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we'll be back with more Cincy Lifestyle on the other side of the break. Plus, Cincy Lifestyle has full episodes of the show up on YouTube. Find fun segments you've never seen before, or you can watch some of your favorites again and again. So subscribe now on youtube.com/Cincy Lifestyle. We'll be right back.
Sunny out there right now, but as you can see, the clouds are and will continue to build up a little bit today. Get out and enjoy a beautiful day. Coming up tomorrow right here on Cincy Lifestyle, we learn how to cook from the comfort of our homes. The owner of Tablespoon Cooking Company will talk to us about her move to the virtual world and some of the incredible classes you can take right now.
Then we find out about new innovations when it comes to robotic pets. I'll take one of those. We'll check in with the University of Cincinnati on how they're helping the older adult population through furry friends. All that, so much more happening tomorrow right here on Cincy Lifestyle. Great show, Clyde. Always a pleasure being with you. And I thank all of you for watching. We appreciate watching. And hey, we always want to hear from you. Check us out. All those ways on the screen. Let us know what you think. Give us your show ideas. And we'll be here tomorrow, so join us tomorrow again with another great show, Clyde. I will see you later. Make it a great day.
Thanks for watching our video. If you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button. You can also check out full episodes of the show you've never seen before or watch your favorites again and again. And as always, make it a great day.